Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the United States Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley announced that the Trump administration's first draft of a Middle East peace plan is approaching its completion and will be presented in the near future, while claiming that its content won't be loved by either side. Qatar announced that if Israel would reach a peace agreement with the Palestinians, Doha would immediately advance to reach a peace accord with the Jewish state. Washington accuses Moscow of ongoing hypocrisy in calling for an end to the Syria conflict on the one hand, while blocking any meaningful effort to do so on the other. A large delegation of senior Hamas officials from Gaza and abroad, including the Islamist group's leader Ismail Haniyeh, have been in Cairo for the past 2 weeks for talks with top Egyptian intelligence officials. An initial delegation led by Haniyeh left Gaza in early February without prior notice and was since been joined by additional members of the organization's leadership for an unusually long visit. Hamas claims the visit was meant to discuss ways to ease the suffering of Gaza residents amid a deteriorating humanitarian crisis in the Strip, but reports indicate that it is not the main reason for the trip. Sources in the Palestinian enclave revealed that the main reason for Hamas delegation's extended stay in Cairo has to do with the crisis in the reconciliation agreement between Hamas and the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas's Fatah faction. It is unlikely, however, that any progress will be achieved due to the deep disagreements between the two rival Palestinian factions and the fact that each side remains entrenched in its positions. Now, to a related matter, Qatar's ambassador to Gaza, Muhammad El-Emadi, claims that his country is helping Israel avoid another Gaza war by funneling relief money amounting to some $800 million to impoverished Palestinians across the Gaza Strip with Washington's blessings, describing the cooperation as evidence of Doha's distance from the Islamist Hamas, which controls the Palestinian enclave and is internationally recognized as a terrorist organization.
We don't want a next war. At the moment, we want to stop this. At the moment, we want to cool things down. And we've done it. But for how long? The work which we are doing, it's keeping peace for the both nation, okay, both people. We feed Washington the correct information what we're doing. When these people understand what Qatar doing, right away they are with us, okay? You know, Qatar is credible state, country, okay? And when we tell them what is there on the ground, okay, what we are doing there, it's a good work. When you show that you are doing good work, it's very simple. It's convincing.
Since coming under an embargo last year by its US-allied Gulf Arab neighbors, Qatar has made its aid to the Gaza Strip and the coordination with Israel needed for distribution a focus of its diplomatic contacts with the Trump administration. Nevertheless, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Egypt continued their diplomatic and commercial boycott of Qatar for its alleged support of terror groups such as Hamas, as well as other allegations, including meddling in their internal affairs and backing foreign policies of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Qatar denies all accusations and pushes back with outreach to the United States, including several leaders of its pro-Israel Jewish community. Meanwhile, the Qatari diplomat also announced in an unprecedented declaration that if Israel would reach a peace agreement with the Palestinians, Doha would immediately reach a peace accord with the Jewish state.
Israel should also recognize Palestinian rights also. That is also, it's a two-part, okay? This is a United Nations resolution, okay, on the 76 border acceptable, okay? So if they recognize, I think this will be done, solved, and then the things will be solved easily.
Israeli officials did not respond to the request for comment. Now, to another matter, the United States Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley announced that the Trump administration's first draft for a Middle East peace plan is approaching its completion and will be presented in the near future, while claiming that its content won't be loved by either side. Speaking during a question and answer session at the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics, Ambassador Haley indicated that Trump's negotiating team was still going back and forth, while emphasizing that while the notion of a two-state solution, even though still being publicly advocated by the Palestinians, was a matter for Israel and the Palestinians to decide. That said, the American UN ambassador indicated that it is hard to see how either side would want a binational one-state solution, while adding that she thinks all parties involved are pushing toward a two-state outcome. Now, with regard to the ongoing conflict in Israel's northern neighbor, where clashes between Syrian government forces and Islamist rebels have alarmed the West, primarily in the eastern Ghouta district, which is located east of the capital, Damascus. Government fighter jets have pounded the rebel enclave for 6 days straight, with more than 400 casualties reported since Sunday night. While Western powers called on Damascus and its allies to advance a ceasefire that would allow for humanitarian aid to reach the population in eastern Ghouta, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov noted Moscow's concerns about the way humanitarian issues are being discussed, stressing that while it is hard to oppose a call to ceasefire for the sake of civilians, it was imperative to differentiate between civilian populations living in rebel-held districts and militants belonging to Islamist organizations that are targeting civilians themselves in government-held territories.
Вызывает озабоченность то, в каком ключе обсуждаются гуманитарные вопросы. Если говорить коротко, то трудно возражать против призывов к перемирию с тем, чтобы гражданское население могло получить передышку, чтобы можно было доставить гуманитарную помощь, медикаменты и оказать содействие людям, которые оказались в тяжелой ситуации.
At an emergency session of the United Nations Security Council, Syria's ambassador to the world body declared that the Assad regime will not succumb to pressure from countries that support terrorists across the war-torn country. Ambassador Jafari claimed that while the West was advocating humanitarian aid and ceasefires, it was actively working to divide Syria.
لأننا لن نخضع بعد اليوم لابتزاز كل من دعم الإرهاب في سوريا. ولن نتساهل مع خطط حكومات الدول الخمس التي اجتمعت في واشنطن الشهر الماضي بهدف تقسيم سوريا.
The Russian ambassador to the United Nations also took the opportunity to accuse the West of trying to divide the war-torn country. Ambassador Vasily Nebenta stressed that it was time to engage in the spirit of constructive cooperation in engaging with the UN to try and bring an end to the bloody conflict.
Повторю, что вы все еще раз услышали. Россия продолжит делать все возможное для достижения мира в Сирии и возвращения стабильности в регион Ближнего Востока. Призываем наших партнеров заняться тем же самым в духе конструктивного сотрудничества и во взаимодействии с ООН, вместо того, чтобы продолжать сеять смуту, накачивать поддержкой джихадистов и рвать регион на части.
In response to the Russian statement, U.S. Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations Kelly Currie accused Moscow of hypocrisy in calling for an end to the Syria conflict on the one hand, while blocking any meaningful effort to do so on the other.
The Russian permanent representative also asked that we, quote, come up with ways of getting out of this situation. Yet it appears to be intent on blocking any meaningful effort to do so.
Thank you for joining us. You can also watch us at TV7IsraelNews.com or at TV7.fi. For any updates from Israel and its region, visit our Facebook page at TV7 Israel News. For any comments, please send your emails to israelnews@tv7.fi. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Yair Pinto. Have a good evening. Shabbat Shalom. And we will see you again on Monday at the same time.
In order to donate to TV7 Israel News, please follow these simple steps. First, press the Donate logo, located at the bottom left side of TV7 Israel News Facebook page, or on the Donate tab at the head of the page. Then insert the amount you'd like to donate, and fill in your credit card information. Just like this. And press Review Donation and continue. After reviewing your donation details, please press Donate to finalize your donation. That's it! Your donation is now complete, and an email with your donation details has been sent to your email address. You can also print your donation receipt by pressing the link here. Thank you for supporting TV7 Israel News.